I've got so many questions for you. I really just want to hear, first of all, give us a capsule version of the man himself and his accomplishments and why you would write, take the time during, you were what, at Yale Law School at the time, writing this thing?
Right, I
Yeah,
was. And let me tell you how I came about this project
sure.
at school. I was reading the brief that Thurgood Marshall and the NAACP filed in Brown versus Board,
Hmm.
the historic Supreme Court decision that led to the integration of American public schools. And in that brief, Thurgood Marshall, writing on behalf of the NAACP, talks about Thomas Jefferson, and he also talks about Charles Sumner. He goes back to Jefferson and attributes to Jefferson that famous immortal phrase, all men are created equal. They are endowed with certain inalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
Right.
which Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence. But of course, when Jefferson wrote these words in the Declaration, they were not legally binding. It was a nice, pretty metaphor.
Right.
The Constitution protected slavery in US states. Never mind segregation. Of course, that was in a very different form than in Jim Crow. There was a form of segregation at the time of
Right.
the founding. And then comes along Charles Sumner, who was a Harvard-educated lawyer, who in 1849 joined the first interracial legal team in American history in Boston, home, of course, of where the American Revolution began.
Hmm.
Sumner's own grandfather had fought in the American Revolution. And Sumner, along with this young black lawyer, argue in court that when Jefferson said all men are created equal in the Declaration of Independence, what Jefferson really meant is that all men should be equal before law. Because how can we be equal before God if we are not also equal before law?
Hmm.
Tried to concretize Jefferson's expression into law
Yeah.
and the expression equality before the law.
Very good. So kind of a transitivity between if you're equal before God, therefore you must be equal before the law, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
The argument is not successful, but Thurgood Marshall and the NAACP revived that argument in Brown. And at the end of one of the sections of the brief, Marshall notes that it was Thomas Jefferson who gave us the phrase, all men are created equal, but it was none other than Charles Sumner who concretized that principle into American law.